Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Pitch Den session. We're excited to have you as our guests and our panel, and obviously our startups taking part today. My name is Thabo Scott. I am a consultant at Reese, and I've had the fortunate opportunity alongside my colleagues to work along some of the startups that you'll be seeing today. So before we further go in, I would like to go through the order of the day. So today we'll run in 3 sessions with 15 minutes breaks between each session. 5 startups will pitch in each session. So please stay tuned and don't miss out on some of the incredible ideas. And since you are streaming this, for those that will be streaming this via YouTube, you're also more than welcome to pause at any stage, take a quick comfort break, stretch, and then continue off as you are able to fast forward to exactly where the program will be. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Kamal Ramsingh. So just a little on Kamal. Kamal is a self-confessed life servant of IT. During his almost 3 decades of service across multiple sectors, Kamal has occupied executive positions at large multinational consulting and systems integration firms, and has also enjoyed success as an African ICT entrepreneur. He has advised CIOs and organizations across East, West, and Southern Africa. Kamal continues to express his passion for ICT through various entrepreneurial initiatives and acts as an institutional mentor to several Black-owned ICT SMMEs. Kamal has a BSc in computer science and a master's in business leadership, where he was cum laude. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Kamal. I would like to bring Kamal on stage to talk to us as our keynote speaker and speak about massive rates of growth and opportunity in the geospatial in Africa. Welcome, Kamal.
Fantastic, Thabo. Thank you for that phenomenal introduction. I almost had to do a check on whether you were speaking about me. So thank you so much for that. And thanks for this opportunity to address the future leaders of the geospatial sector. I'm really excited about today. It has got levels of importance to us in ZA Space for many reasons, and to the sector, to the continent, in fact, for so many reasons. So I'm going to take a few minutes, and it's just a few minutes that we have, to share with you why we're so excited about this. But I want to start really firstly by congratulating all 14 of the startups today. I think just getting here in itself is a phenomenal achievement. Some of you have already done us proud by taking some time out to address GeoWeek 2020 last year, and you really did. You've made everybody proud on what you did. You've showcased geospatial in Africa by doing that, and I think that's just the absolute start of it. A mention to our partners for sure. We would not be here without all of your work. Part of that team, so thank you very much for all of the effort expended, and of course the judges who are in the background and probably need more good luck today than the startups, because they have a phenomenally difficult task ahead of them in trying to differentiate between the 14 businesses that we're going to look at today. So like I said, I'm going to try and talk to you with 2 hats. One as the chairperson of ZA Space, and incidentally, for those of you who are not aware, ZA Space was set up just about 2 years ago. We're a non-profit organization, and our focus is to work with our space agency, with SANZA, and quite simply grow the size of our geospatial sector. It's as simple as that. We need more people in it. We need to make it easier to do work. We need more innovators in it, and that's our focus. So events like these and several others, which we can share with you separately, is what we do. We encourage people to get excited about the sector, and that's my job today, to start with that. So let me start by sharing why we're excited. Why we're excited, firstly, about this sector, and I hope why you're excited about this sector. So a few years ago, geospatial was the poor cousin of technology. It was hanging in there, doing a lot of things. We all had maps. We had different versions of maps. We could navigate and so forth. But over the past few years, buoyed very much by all of those fancy digital terms that we all know about, machine intelligence, Internet of Things, etc. Driven by that, location and geospatial intelligence has come into its own. It's experienced phenomenal growth globally, And of course, unfortunate as the global pandemic is for all of us, the havoc that it's wreaked on humanity overall, the pandemic has also brought the value of geospatial into incredibly sharp focus. The pandemic is a physical phenomenon, physical challenge that we're experiencing globally, and it demanded a physical response, which was geospatial in nature. So all the customer conversations I have right now, it's with a heightened awareness from corporates all across the sectors of the power of geospatial, and that in itself is incredibly exciting. It's incredibly exciting because it's no longer a heavy technology conversation that you need to have. You can now have real conversations about solving real problems using geospatial technologies, and that is very, very exciting. The little block at the bottom of this chart focuses on Africa, and that's our focus, that's our continent, and you can see the rates of growth, massive rates of growth around the African continent and the demand that's emanating around geospatial intelligence. So if we just look at this, and this is one of my favorite charts, which I'll probably use for a while to come, but the levels of demand increase in Africa is the sum total of what you'd see in most of the developed world. Admittedly, it's because we're coming off a low base, but the fact is we, as business people on this continent, live on the continent with the greatest promise of taking up our business ideas, and that's exciting. As an entrepreneur, that is phenomenally exciting. And it's not to take away some of the other forces that are driving the growth. There was a phenomenal article recently about close to a $9 billion increase in the past year during the pandemic, a $9 billion increase in funding for space infrastructure. Now, that admittedly, that's some of the heavy-duty hardware funding and investments that's transpired. But over the past few years, close to $15 billion was spent in what we would refer to broadly as downstream applications and solutions, which is what you innovators are going to be talking to us about today. Amazon and Microsoft are getting in on the act. And when these big brands get on board with any trend, it's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. And of course, both those organizations are increasing their investments on our continent. So it's a really positive sign to say, if you've spent the last few months toiling over your business idea and your startup, you're in the right place. Of course, let's not forget the free trade agreement that's been announced. This is particularly exciting for anyone in the location intelligence, the geospatial sector, because a lot of that, realizing the promise of the free trade agreement, is going to be dependent on a very effective transportation and logistics ecosystem. And of course, we know transportation and logistics is heavily dependent on location and geospatial. So growth, even from that, is what we're expecting. And from a South African point of view, let us not forget the phenomenal commitment that's come out in the end of last year under the management now of our space agency, the Space Infrastructure Hub. A 4.5 billion rand investment has been committed to the sector over the next 3 years. And we, as ZA Space, are working very closely with our space agency to focus that on multiple areas, and one of them being the growth of SMMEs across the continent, if we can get that right. So startups, you in the right place. I want to urge you to remain excited about a rapidly growing sector in a continent that's full of promise. That's absolutely full of promise. And the big point here is the challenge we have on our continent, as much as the opportunity has presented itself by way of demand, the truth is, from a readiness point of view, our readiness to service that demand still needs work. It needs work in many, many ways, in open data access, in capacitation of skills, but most importantly, it needs help in what we're referring to around industry fabric. So this is a very generic view of how one improves geospatial readiness. And the value that you're bringing to us today cannot be understated. That industry fabric, beautiful consulting word, that industry fabric point down there refers to, one of the dimensions of it is about having an ecosystem that supports and encourages innovation across the sector. So what you're doing today is contributing significantly to our geospatial readiness. And I really, really hope that you continue to expend your efforts in this area, continue to innovate. My final comments around today is firstly, the sector absolutely needs you across the continent. So the more startups we can encourage, the more innovators we can bring in to participate, either with incumbents, with state-owned entities, with funding institutions. This is what we need more of. And as a business person that's active in the geospatial sector on this continent, I can guarantee you the African opportunity has only just started. We are only just seeing the start of what everyone is expecting to be significant growth and demand for geospatial solutions across the continent. So I really want to encourage you to persevere. Whatever the outcomes today, you've been judged by 4 or 5 really, really well accomplished individuals. I have no doubt that apart from anything else, they'll provide significant guidance to your efforts to turn your ideas into viable businesses. So I wish you all the very best. I want to again thank you for the effort you've expended in getting this far and the value you've already added to so many people in doing what you have. So I'm looking forward to the outcomes for today, and I want to again reiterate my gratitude to our partners and to thank the judges and wish the judges very, very well. I know each one of them, and I know they're going to be doing their absolute best over the course of today. So Thabo, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm going to sign off on that note. Thank you very much.
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was muted there for a second. My deepest apologies. Thank you, Kamal, for those very encouraging and inspirational words to the entrepreneurs and all that are in our ecosystem. I would like to now introduce our esteemed judges. First up, I would like to introduce Imran. Imran is currently employed as a Chief Sector and Business Developer at the South African National Space Agency, responsible for the SANA Earth Observation Business Development nationally, in Africa and globally, as well as supporting the Department of Science and Technology on the executive of the Group on Earth Observations. Prior to joining SANZA, he spent 14 years at the Department of Science and Technology, most recently as a Director for Earth Observations. 4 of these 14 years were spent on this secondment to the Group on Earth Observation Secretariat in Geneva, where he was responsible for driving its capacity building program. Prior to his secondment, Imran was a director of the ICT technology mission at the Department of Science and Technology. He was previously also represented South Africa at the OECD's Working Group on Science and Technology Indicators. Before joining the DST, Imran worked as rock mechanics engineer at Placer Dome Western areas, designing support systems for undergoing excavations. Next is Etienne. Etienne has 36 years in the ICT industry with 32 years of practical GIS, LBS experience. Comprehensive experience in the use of spatial solutions with telecoms, defense, and various spheres of government and private sector environments. Specializing in identifying new applied fields for GIS, LBS in an organization and defining the optimal use of GIS, LBS in correlation with other technologies within an organization. His focus in the last couple of years has been taking Map IT to the next level and becoming the preferred digital mapping solutions partner to business and governments in Africa. It's now time for a new journey with ENL Spatial, where location matters, and now with ZA Space, where space matters. Next up is Alex. Alex has a Master's of Science, where he was cum laude, in remote sensing and GIS, and has a working experience of over 20 years, which has focused on remote sensing satellites, airborne technologies in the mineral exploration, defense, agriculture, and environmental monitoring sectors. After graduating from Rhodes University, he spent 2 years at the Agriculture Research Council, followed by 10 years at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the CSIR, Satellite Application Center, which is now the space agency, developing the satellite-based Earth observation solutions. He also spent 10 years in the commercial airborne LiDAR and hyperspatial imagery sector, and now heads up the Africa region of Digital Globe, which is now called Maxon. Next is Mark. Mark is a qualified chartered accountant, joined the First Rank Group in 2011, and has a passion for understanding businesses and delivering client-focused solutions. In addition to banking experience, Mark was involved in building Ashburton Investments, the group's alternative asset manager, where he held the position of CFO. Mark is currently part of FNB's commercial advisory team, where he provides corporate finance type services to the FNB commercial client base. Davis is the CEO at Reese's, focused on helping organizations and industries transform their innovation culture, behavior, and capabilities, and enabling them to remain relevant in a rapidly modernizing and uncertain future. He has a diverse range of industry experience across areas of strategy development, innovation, and risk management. He has also held high-level management positions in a range of organizations, including KPMG, ERM, Anglo American, and the Gauteng provincial government. Davis also acts as a non-exec for Anza Capital, an early-stage African-focused VC fund. ZA Space, the private industry representative body for the SA space sector, and the SA Innovation Summit. He holds several undergraduate and postgrad degrees in science, business, and social studies. But without further ado, I would like to introduce HydroBlue. There we go. HydroBlue is a geospatial data science company that was established to improve the accuracy of borehole drilling in remote and vulnerable regions by enabling hydrologists to make data-driven decisions when identifying suitable locations to drill. So I would like to hand over to the team, and since I've already introduced a panel of judges, the floor is yours. I don't want to take up any more of the space.
Okay. Thank you for that, Thabo, for that introduction. Okay, so my name is Joash, and I am one of two directors at the HydroBlue company. HydroBlue is a predictive AI system that improves the success rates of borehole drilling in physically vulnerable regions. Now, this directly increases access to sanitary water supply for both human consumption and for agriculture. Now, Professor Randir Ruwatal and I founded the company to address the global water crisis by using modern methods of spatial data science, GIS, and machine learning. Next. In South Africa, approximately 70% of the population are dependent on groundwater, with the average borehole project costing 100,000 Rand. The success of a project is not guaranteed, and clients are required to pay even if the borehole is completely dry. To date, we have identified over 12,000 non-functional boreholes, and this excludes the number of dry boreholes drilled. At a conservative accuracy rate of 25%, this results in a total loss in investment of 1 billion Rand and leaves millions without sanitary water. Now, we believe that machine learning and spatial data science methods could be applied to improve these accuracy rates when drilling. Next. The model developed is based on hydrogeological indicators that are generally considered when identifying sites to drill. These indicators include things such as soil type, vegetation, rainfall patterns, and so on. The various environmental data sets have been spatially joined by region to data relating to both functional and non-functional boreholes. Machine learning algorithms were then applied to identify what indicators lead to functional borehole sites and what don't. Next. Okay. To develop the model, data was collected from government departments and through API connections such as the Google Earth Engine. The data collected was then generalized, integrated, and cleaned to form a single database for machine learning. The data was then randomly split into a training set, testing set, and a validation set to create the model. Environmental data sets were then considered to be input features in the model, while functional and non-functional borehole sites were the output. Machine learning classification algorithms were then applied to the data to identify what input features correlate with successful boreholes and what don't. In total, we used 4 algorithms to train the model, including artificial neural networks, progression trees, SVM, and nearest neighbors. Early testing of the model has indicated accuracy rates around 75%. It should be noted that the accuracy will improve as more data becomes available and as the system is tested. Next. In the SADC region alone, approximately 35,000 boreholes are drilled each year, making this our total addressable market size. The system will therefore be licensed through a pay-as-you-use model, where 10% of the total cost will be retained for every successful prediction made. With just a 2% market penetration at an accuracy rate of 75%, clients will collectively save about 52 million rand each year. This further translates to an average income of 5.2 million rand per annum to the company for just 2% of the SADC market. To easily scale, the system was also developed using a serverless paradigm and is primarily built on global data sets. Next. The project has been internally tested with field testing set to begin in March this year. Next. The project is financially supported through the Technology Innovation Agency and through the United Nations Development Programme and Water Research Commission's Technology Demonstration Program. The company is also a beneficiary of Amazon Activate Program credits and has been a finalist in the AI Expo Africa and the Innovation Summit 2020. Next. We are seeking about 1.5 million rand in funding for additional data acquisition and to further generalize the model so that it is easily scaled anywhere in the world with relative ease. For this, we will offer a return of 5 million after 5 years. Next. Okay. Once the prototype is developed, we are seeking an additional funding amount of 7.5 million to operationalize and test the product throughout the world. Next. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Your solution is quite innovative, and especially seeing as water is a scarce resource. So I'd like to hand over to the judges for a Q&A. Judges, do we have any questions for our startups? Any takers to go first?
Sorry, so this is David speaking. I'll jump into the first question. Thanks, guys. It's some really great stuff. What I'd like to check in is, have you had to change or adapt any of your business modeling or thinking since you've been putting this in? So have you had one idea and you've seen it through all the way, or have you received customer feedback and changed part of what you're doing through the process?
Okay, so just to quickly respond to that. So you see, we initially started with the concept of borehole drilling, and as we've gone on to learn more about its application, we have had interest from other industries and through our funders to use this method and this model and apply and adapt it. But the first thing we are focusing on is achieving the first goal, which is that accuracy rate with borehole drilling. Thereafter, we are looking to adapt and move into other spaces, other areas, apply it to address different solutions. Well, different solutions, but still related to the first objective, which was borehole drilling. Like a few companies have come to us and said, for example, can you identify boreholes that are drilled with excessive nitrate or excessive iron? And so it has adapted and it continues to evolve, but we are looking to first complete the original objective of the project while in parallel working on the other stuff.
Sorry if I could add to that. We've been working with a couple of partners, including Amgeni Water in the KZN region and other people like that. And we have been considering these different types of models, and we are currently using the pay as you use, and there's only income to the company if there's a successful borehole. So that's because we are trying to achieve market penetration. Of course, as the reputation builds and the accuracy rises, we may reconsider that model in the future.
Can I just, Professor, hi, Etienne here. First of all, I think the concept, I agree the concept's fantastic, but I think like in any business, the issue is all about cash and cash flow and getting people to adopt, right? So if you are doing the pay-as-you-go, how's the acceptance of that been to date? Is it going? Can you see a point where the company is going to become cash viable?
So the projections Josh showed, I think, are fairly accurate in terms of our costs. You see, it's largely computational costs, which we are able to meet. And the partners that are working with us are working quite collaboratively, so they see a good future in this. We are also supported by the Technology Innovation Agency. So we are very much at the just exiting prototype phase, and the actual commercial development is what we are looking to transition to now. Perhaps Josh, you want to comment there?
Yes, so basically we are, like Prof said, we do have quite collaborative funders who from the start have been providing us with feedback, telling us exactly what the market would be receptive towards and not. So right at a research phase, we did begin to engage with Amgeni Water. So the project started with collaboration with key people in the industry.
So if you complete with the question, if I may ask a question, what sort of difficulties are you anticipating with the further technological development and or the increase in your market size, and to taking this out further?
So maybe if I can start there. Of course, increasing the accuracy is key to us. One of the things that tends to happen with technology products is people start to think, obviously, this is the way it should be done, and there's less appreciation for what the results actually are. So having people continue to appreciate that this is a significant contribution, because the benchmark for us currently is the accuracy of the hydrogeologists. So the fact that our accuracy is something like 3 times the current standard, although that might be a benchmark to us now, having people continue to appreciate that is maybe the challenge. So there may be the sort of sense that, well, this is easy to do, and that this could be done by other means. You see, it's been a fair challenge integrating multiple data sets, and it's been quite a lot of work just getting the right data together so that you have enough to train a good model. And we continue to integrate further data sets, and in fact, that's one of our primary interests in our presence here. But I think having people continue to appreciate the significance of the systems advising, that is something that's going to need further work.
On that note, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have at the moment. Thank you, Joash. HydroBlue as a collective. Like I said earlier, your innovative solution is a necessity in the times that we live in, and all the best.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present, and thanks for the time of the judges and everyone present.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Up next, we have Hehe. Hehe aims to create a post-harbor platform using remote sensing technology to focus supply and consumer data and efficiently allocating logistic resources such as fleet and warehousing to connect farmers to high-value markets locally and globally, addressing the issues of post-harvest loss that is currently costing Africa $48 billion annually due to inefficient logistics.
Hi.
Crippen,
Yes.
I would like to hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Thabo. My name is Crippen, as Thabo said, and I'm going to be presenting our latest initiative at Hehe, which is the Abundance Villages. Next. So we all know that farmers play a very important role in each of our lives. Well, they grow our food, but limited access to markets means that they live most of their lives in poverty. On the flip side, people living in urban areas grapple with issues of food security. But we have the technology and the tools to solve this problem in a heartbeat. Next. 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 So at Hehe, we have the technology and the tools to solve this problem. As we said, as Thabo said earlier, we have a range of products that we use to match demand and supply from rural areas to urban areas. Next slide. And just to give you more context, Africa loses $48 billion of food due to post-harvest loss every year. Next. And all this while it receives $4 billion of food aid annually. So as you can see, it's a huge loss. Next. So our vision at Hehe is to create a perfect market by matching demand and supply. Next. We bring connectivity solutions, supply chain solutions to rural communities. Next. And we do this in what we call abundance villages. So what abundance villages are basically connected agriculture collection centers that provide warehousing and transportation services for farmers in rural areas. Next. So this supply chain solution is dedicated to address the post-harvest problem by connecting these farmers to high-value markets in urban areas. Next. So consumers pay a membership fee to become an Abundance Village member, and they access fresh produce at farm gate prices. And this ensures that farmers have access to reliable logistics and a ready market. Next. These centers are owned and operated by a franchise model, which allows for scalability while empowering entrepreneurs within the community to create new jobs. Next. Next. Sorry, go back. Our goal in the next 2 years is to establish 17 abundance villages across Rwanda and expand throughout the Great Lakes region by 2025. We're looking to raise funding in 2022. So our focus this year is product market fit and gaining more traction. Next. Our connectivity solution is a demand-driven service designed with the end user in mind, therefore making it economically viable. Next. So we are already serving 7,000 consumers in Rwanda, and we're reaching 4,000 farmers in rural areas with just 2 abundance villages. And we would absolutely love for you to join us in this amazing journey. Thank you. You're on mute.
Sorry, thank you. Thanks for that. I would like to now move on to the Q&A. Our panel of esteemed judges. Any first takers?
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Thabo. Thank you for that great presentation from Hehe. Just a question from my side. It would appear that, and it's a great solution, but This challenge was about using Earth observation data. And from what I can gather, maybe you didn't have enough time, but it seems like all you really need to know is where are farmers and where are people located. So can you just give us a little bit of detail on what exactly you need from an Earth observation perspective? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. So at its core, Hey deals in geolocation technologies. That's what we started with as a startup. And this technology allows us to map where farmers are and where consumers are and create an efficient and optimized route for us to get the produce to them effectively. But we're also looking to increase this potential and increase the value that we give to our farmers. So we are planning to have different ways to power farmers with technology that can help them have their harvest, predict their harvest and predict their yields based on geolocation technologies. So from that standpoint, that is where we would need such a strong partner to help us achieve that mission that we have.
And then maybe just a question on your business model, if I don't mind. So just, I think the slide, you've got an iPad and you've got farmer, consumer. I just want to understand, so does a farmer upload his prices onto the app and then he ships his stuff or takes his stuff to the abundance center and then people come and pick it up or buy it online? So all that shipping and transport, who covers that? And then also when it sits at the abundance village, who takes the risk of those items going bad? So, does the farmer put it there and hopes people buy it? How does the whole model work? I'm just trying to understand sort of the economics of it.
Yes, so this is a demand-driven service. So we already know beforehand, before the farmers bring the produce, how much is needed, how much, let's say, potatoes are needed in kilos, and that helps us effectively match the supply in the rural areas from the farmers. For the logistics sides, we have a sourcing team. We have fleets and agents that help us in bringing this produce from the rural areas to the urban areas. So yeah, that's what we do.
And then is the farmer responsible for loading one by one, or is there data in that process? I mean, just how does that work from them?
Yes, so the agents we have in these abundance villages are digitally literate, competent people that help farmers upload their products online. And this is something that keeps on changing because the price keep on changing. So what we help them with is stay in touch with them, make sure that the price that are on the app that we have are always up to date, and members can place their orders and receive deliveries, recurring deliveries every week.
Question from my side. What has been the subscriptions to the service thus far, and what sort of uptake have you seen, or what sort of uptake do you foresee in the future?
Yes, so Rwanda especially is ripe for this sort of subscription model because right now we already have 4,000 consumers that are placing these orders, that are using this service, and they're connected. The 7,000 consumers are connected to 4,000 farmers. So we envision to have more people getting on, as we have seen substantial growth in the last couple of years, and we expect to have even more exponential growth in the near future.
Just one question from me, Griffin, and that is, you guys are asking people to pay to join the app. That sort of seems to go against everything that you see out there around app usage. Have you found that to be an issue?
No, our service really emphasizes on the reliability of deliveries and these recurring deliveries every week. So our consumers, when they pay that subscription service, they're allowed to send us a shopping list of whatever produce that is available on the app, and we deliver it to them every week. But core to our mission is also the customer satisfaction team, which ensures that our customers are always aware that the produce is going to get to them, and making sure that they even follow up after, asking them how they really, if they like the produce that we deliver to them. And we found that this really helps in getting more traction, because people talk and they tell their friends, they tell their families, and like that we get even more customers.
It just seems a bit strange that you've got, well, I've got my numbers correct, 4,000 farmers and 7,000 users. So you've got less than 2 customers per farmer. What is your optimal, economically viable number, your ratio between farmer and consumer? I mean, surely you must have, I would think, probably hundreds of consumers per farmer to make this thing viable.
Yes, so these consumers are not just individuals or households, they're also businesses that buy in bulk. The farmers are also not subsistence farmers, so they are in cooperatives where they grow produce in bulk. And our goal, our ratio is really dependent on having as much variety, first of all, on our app, and having consumers of different sizes. So our B2Cs, our B2Bs. If it's a household, we have what we call we have a minimum order. So there's some businesses and households that cannot order something like 1 kilo of potatoes, but they have to order in bulk because this is something that they can do every day. It's a weekly delivery, so they have to buy in bulk. So what we are mainly concerned about is making sure that the farmers have access to ready markets and people who buy their produce in bulk.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. I have to call it there. Thank you to the HeHe team. Market access is something that's crucial and overlooked when startups are beginning to scale up. So your innovative solution is able to sort of capture that market there. Up next we have Field Dev. Field Dev. Thanks. Let me intro you real quick and then you can take over. Field Dev Group Nigeria is an agribusiness focused geographic information system mapping provider. Their flagship is a web-based geospatial analysis tool that provides a fast, precise, and easily repeatable way for smallholder farmers farming collectively in a geo-cooperative to divide up their shared land expands into smaller adjacent plots. So with that, I would like to hand over to you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Nduka. I'm a vegetable farmer and the founder of Field Dev Group, and we are in the business of putting smallholder farmers back in the map. My presentation includes a demo to our live demo to our product. So I ask that you please open the link in the chat. I've put in the chat. So next slide. At the start of the pandemic last year, we invented a tool that helps smallholder farmers digitize the location of their land cheaply without needing to hire an expensive land survey company. Now, having these kind of detailed online maps showing where lands are helps smallholder farmers with better representation to lenders and investors at a national level. And this is essential because doing this reduces risk and uncertainty in investing in agriculture, and by promoting very strong farm location intelligence. An added benefit of our tool, which I'm going to talk a bit more about later, is the fact that it lowers the farmer's cost per hectare. Next slide. So what exactly is the problem? The problem is smallholder farmers typically cultivate very small informal plots of land, and this typically makes it very difficult to know exactly where the lands are. And for the farmers, this makes it very difficult for them to access funding and insurance. And for lenders, this presents an even bigger problem, which is why here in Nigeria, farmers specifically seeking for funding from the Nigerian Central Bank are required to form AGCs or agro-drill cooperatives and farm collectively on a single piece of land. Now, this communal farming model represents a lower risk to the lender. However, for each application must have the coordinates of each farmer's plot, as this serves as a crucial part of the farmer's identity on the loan ticket. And the size of each plot determines how much money will be allocated to the farmer. So it is therefore very important that the boundaries of each plot are very precise and accurate. Now, this presents another problem to the farmers because getting these coordinates is very expensive. So this is where our solution comes in. Next slide, please. Our solution typically requires the farmer the lead farmer of the cooperative to walk around the extent of their land with a simple GPS route tracing app and capturing the extent, and then uploading that information to us. And then our tool will automatically divide up the land into small adjacent farm plots and report back very high precision boundary coordinates that can be used by drones and other precision agricultural tools. Now, some of the value our tool provides to the farmer is they can get access to funding faster because our tool runs in minutes versus several days it will take for a traditional land survey, and then reduces the farmer's input cost. So here's how we make. Next slide, please. Here's how we make money. Our pricing is flat for $5 per hectare for every shapefile that is uploaded to us for subdividing. And when you factor in server time and database costs, our costs are only about $1.50 to process each subdivision request. Our biggest advantage is that we're cheaper than the competition, and our results are almost immediately available online. Here's how the program works. So the farmers would capture the extent of their land, upload that information to us, including a list of farmers and the allocation per farmer, and then they wait to receive a preview map of the subdivided plots, which is the map that you see in the chat that I posted. So some of our customers are institutional lenders, state governments, and development partners who invest in agriculture on a macro level and who have access to large pools of farmers. And our end users for this particular rollout are farmers applying to the central bank AGC program. Our program can be used by real estate developers and mining concessionaires to also divide up their concessions. Next slide, please, to traction. We started building the program in early 2020, and we completed the algorithm in May. And by August, we started negotiating a service contract for a trial run to divide about 2,000 hectares of land. Next slide, please. So far we've invested $2,000 of our own and raised $5,000 from external sources. Currently, we're asking for about $25,000 from investors that have ties to commercial farmers and institutional lenders who want to replicate the AGC model. By the end of this year, we intend to have 5 software developers and create a marketing team. And by the end of next year, we want to expand into 5 other emerging markets. Next slide.
I have to pause you there. Unfortunately, that's the time you had. Any further questions, any further elaborations, I'm sure can be done when the judges ask their questions. Judges?
Alex, do you want to ask your
one question from my side? Go ahead.
No, Alex, I'm sure you're going to ask the question about the usage of Earth observation technologies. I'm seeing a great survey.
Yes, I'm obviously quite focused on how you're using Earth observation data. So that's the one question. What's your back-end information? Seemingly a farmer walks around his field, uploads shapefiles, wondering where the link is to Earth observation data. Secondly, just a bit interested in understanding the model. There are automated AI algorithms and companies producing field boundaries at roughly about between $5 and $10 a square kilometer. So they're not parcel-based. I'm just trying to understand, whether you've explored looking at these AI technologies and off-the-shelf products that drive field boundaries using AI technology. Thanks.
All right. So the problem here in Nigeria is that typically the farmlands are very unstructured. So if you ask an AI to look at the land, you would not get very useful information because, like I said, the farming models are not very, the farming plots are not very organized. So what our tool does is does the reverse. So all our tool needs is someone walking around. It could be a virgin land. It could be virgin land. Somebody walking around virgin land, and then divide up that virgin land into plots that can be used for farming going forward. I don't know if you can open the link in the chat. You'll see precisely what I'm talking about.
Thanks, but I'm still failing to see the link to why you need imagery, satellite imagery.
Okay, so for each plot, for each plot that is subdivided, the farmers can see the quality of vegetation in their plot and see other earth spatial information that they can use to inform their farming for their particular plot. I don't know if that answers your question.
Thanks.
Maybe just a question from my side then, just in terms of your customers, just tell me about them. Have you interacted with them? Do they like the idea? What's the feedback?
Okay, so in our case, we were approached by the customers themselves to build this solution for them. Yes, this was something that they came to us to build. They were having trouble registering farmers, and they came to us with this problem, and we solved the problem for them. So we already have paying customers.
And is that specifically the government in this case, or?
Yes.
So I'm just trying to get an idea of the scalability and who would take this up, because you've got quite a few different options of people that would use it. And then maybe just linking on from Alex's question, if there are other companies that do this, what makes you unique, and where are you positioned in the competitive market space?
All right, so this is like I said, this is a tool for big lenders, people who have access to a lot of farmers, who want to organize these farmers in groups and emphasize that they farm collectively. The reach of the program is available to whoever has as many farmers as possible, which is governments, institutional bodies, and big banks.
What implementation challenges do you foresee going forward?
The biggest problem we face is farmers properly capturing the extent of their communal land. Because beyond that, everything is generated by the computer program. But the biggest challenge would be them properly capturing a closed polygon of the land that they collectively intend to farm on.
And how do you foresee overcoming that challenge? Because it's quite significant.
It would be just educating the farmers, because all they need to do, all the technology they need is on a smartphone. So it would be just to educate the farmers how to use a smartphone app to capture a trace of the land extent. And that is the beauty of our program. You don't need any more technology than that to capture their land information.
Thank you, Nduka. And to the judges, that's all the time we have for the Q&A. And once again, well done on pitching and the solution that you've provided.
Thanks.
Up next, we have agrodata. Agrodata optimizes tropical farming with the applications of technologies, which includes GIS, remote sensing, AI, and big data, adapting to these local dynamics and configuring to a usable format for small-scale farmers, youth, and women. Olumide? Olumide, I hand over to you now. Olumide, are you with us? We seem to be having a technical glitch. Okay, there he is.
Good morning.
Oh, there we go. Morning, the show is yours.
Okay. My name is Olumide Ogunbanjo. I'm the CEO of Intis Technovations Limited, and AgroData is our registered trade name. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Yeah. We play GIS and the problems of smallholder farmers. Actually, they have low yield, degraded soil, and we all know about food insufficiency and poor livelihood. Smallholder farmers in Africa are known to practice inefficiently and unsustainable form of agricultural practices. Next slide, please. Our intervention, we use GIS and remote sensing. We've been able to map the honeybees, and we invented the iSmart Hive. We developed the Community Bee Agri-Food Network, in which we enlist crop farmers into this scheme, and we provide them with free hives. Our idea is to be able to use the honeybees to pollinate crop farms to achieve pollination. And the last 3 years, we've been able to have a progressive increase in crop yield with the activities of the bees, and also reduction in overhead costs of using inorganic chemicals as we teach these farmers on how to use farmyard manure. Also, we have the farmers earning extra income from the revenue sharing from the honey we harvest on their fields. Next slide. Our strategy is to use the smallholder farmers as our beneficiaries and our users rather than our customers. And we've been able to collect spatial and non-spatial data. And we also have focus on the crop plants. We support crops that the bees have direct influence on, fruity crops and vegetables. Our targeted solution in the long run is to be able to create an agro database because the smart beehives we have, we've been able to do trials with them with putting sensors into them to be able to collect micro agroecology data across the farm. So we aim in the future to be able to bring out a GIS-enabled solution which could help also in crop health and also help in early warning signals for pests and diseases for these crops. Next slide. At the moment, our product, we harness this, we collect and aggregate honey across the farms. And we have a brand which is NAFDAC certified here in Nigeria, the Fresh Dew honey, which we sell. Next slide, please. Our revenue model, we make money from this, the sales of the raw honey, and we also have a plan to improve on our income streams by being able to do help the farmers and improve seeds, and also be able to do a lot of things with the GIS system that we have. Next slide. Our uniqueness. We use GIS, we use code process, and we harvest directly, supplying unadulterated honey. Next slide. We'll have over 1,000 farmers on a network, and the last financial year we'll be able to raise a revenue of $46,000 from the sales of honey. Next slide. This is our future plan. We plan to progressively cover the whole of Nigeria. We're in the southwest of Nigeria at the moment. Next slide. And these are the founders. I'm an agroecologist and a GIS analyst. Tunji is a web programmer and a data scientist, and Tinuka is an extension specialist. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I would like to bring in the judges. Do we have questions?
I can start then. Maybe just from my side, I'm just not sure. So you sort of had some problems and underlying causes, low farm yield, degraded soil, food insufficiency. I'm not quite sure how your solution lands that. Just explain to me. So you kind of use I suppose data to figure out where the bees are. You put some beehives there and you harvest the honey. I'm just not sure how that solves the problems on the first phrase that you raised.
Olumide?
What we support is using the bees, the potatoes. When the farmer are aware of
Olumide, we're struggling with your connection. Can you perhaps turn
Hello?
off your video to save on bandwidth?
Oh.
Can you perhaps turn off your video? That could help save bandwidth so we can get a stronger connection. Olumide, are you with us?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Olumide?
Yes.
Okay,
now,
we see. Okay. We seem to be struggling. Sorry, go ahead. Okay,
Hello?
we seem to. Yes, I think we're struggling with your connection. I think perhaps. Yes, sorry. I think for the sake of making sure that we're able to do a Q&A.
He has a question.
No, Olumide, we're struggling with your connection. I think we will email you the list of questions for from the judges.
Hello.
And then you can respond via email with the answers. All right. Thank you, everyone. That brings us to the last of the startups to pitch for this session. And thank you to AgriData and the other startups that participated in this session. So you are welcome to go stretch, have a cup of coffee, and we will see you in the next session. Please, I just wanted to remind you, for those that are joining us on our web link, you do not have to you don't need to close the link. You can just pause it or stay on the link. Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you in a bit. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the second session I would like to welcome our judges, finalists, investors, and our honorary guests. We are back for session 2 of today's Space Tech Pitching Den. In the previous session, we had 5 great pitches, and we cannot wait to hear what the next 5 have in store for us. Let's not steal any more of their time, and let me give them more of the spotlight. First up, Green Aces. Green Aces is an environmental and geospatial consultancy firm. And I will let Boitumelo take it from there.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Boitumelo Khabankitsi from Green Aces Environmental. Next. We bring you smart, innovative services that promote efficiency in the environmental sustainability sector. We provide a range of services from environmental monitoring, geospatial analysis and mapping, environmental license applications. We are a team of 30 inclusive of environmental specialists and 2 software developers. Next. Infrastructure developers are frustrated by the time it actually takes to conduct an environmental impact assessment. It may range from 6 months to 2 years. Next. We are proposing a smart EIA concept where we aim to automate these various processes using Earth observation data and satellite data. Next. The first solution that we are proposing is the automated license and permit application platform. Currently, a client has to physically acquire the forms from the Department of Environmental Affairs and fill them out manually. What we are proposing or what we're developing is a platform where a client just needs a computer and a set of coordinates to enter the site location. The system will then pick out the site location, identify the land zoning and available services around that site, and as well as the type of soils that are there and vegetation. The system also has drop-down options to help the client with impact identification. From there, the output would be a PDF file that can be submitted to the client's offices or directly to the Department of Environmental Affairs on the client's behalf. Next. Currently, 240 applications have been submitted to various offices around the country. With our automated system, we are giving access, an easy and fast, convenient access to this application form. We need 250,000 to develop the platform, and we're using 50% of our target market. 8.6 million can be generated in a year. Other environmental competitors are currently using manual systems to submit this application. We will be the first to propose an online system. Next. Other business model opportunities include selling high quality environmental data and maps which are accessible online from the information hub that we'll be generating. We can also do specialist studies, for example, ecology, running in vegetation index to identify the type of vegetation and for a client in the site. Our key partners will include environmental experts, satellite image providers, data scientists, the DEA as a key stakeholder. Our distribution channel will include online web applications and digital advertisements. Next. We have developed the digital platform. We are currently working on generating that information data hub that can be integrated to the system to help generate more like a digital atlas. Next. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Wordumelo. Well done. I would like to now introduce in our esteemed panel of judges to fire away.
Hi, thank you very much for a very, very good and interesting pitch. I might have missed it in the presentation, but how has the implementation gone up to now? Who are your customers base, and how have your customers received the type of service that you're providing?
Currently, we are still offering the manual system in order to generate income so that we can fully develop the platform. We have already developed the digital platform, however, it's not yet online. We want to generate that in that data hub so that by the time we launch the product, it has all the information that is required for this online application system. So we have a few clients that we have submitted the licensing application for them, just that the system, we have been doing it offline currently.
Just a question on the type of Earth observation data that you're currently using, even through the manual process.
We are using free satellite data that can be obtained from the USGS. We can run vegetation indices to identify if there is a lot of vegetation on your site, how much vegetation will you be removing to develop your infrastructure in that particular area, so we can estimate how much impact you be leaving on that ecology, in the ecology of the area.
Then just help me through your business model. So you've done a really nice job of unpacking a problem and the problem that you're looking to solve. You then break it down into different steps. So where you are now is basically trying to automate an application, and does that then plumb into the whatever office that it goes to, and then is it straight through processing for them, or is it a sort of a manual form and they get it? Because I'm just trying to figure out how the sort of the time works, and then where are you in the journey on the other pieces, where you start to get into some of the nuts and bolts of really shortening the time process? Because I think where the time comes from is not actually in the license application, it's in all the steps after. So maybe just talk us through that.
With the Department of Environmental Affairs, currently they still have to get like a PDF format. And that's why we are proposing that the system will generate a PDF output. Yes, the 2 years is inclusive of these various processes. Beginning with that license application, a license, the application phase would probably take you a day for you to fill out. You would have to get information of the available services in the area as to does water utilities, is the service that is the site that you're proposing, does it have a water connection and stuff like that, and the land zoning. But with our system, with the system that we are proposing, it can take you less than 5 minutes to fill out. And then from there we can move on with the client to actually conduct an environmental impact assessment. With satellite data, you can reduce the time it actually takes for you to conduct a study on site. You can do site reconnaissance before you go on, identify the types of vegetation that are there using hyperspectral remote sensing, and it will take you less time on site than if you were to just conduct a manual site survey.
Okay, and then maybe just your revenue model, how is that going to work? Because I mean, I see you've got a revenue number for, I think you made quite a bold assumption around getting 50% of all the licenses. And then after that, and all the costs that you need, I don't really see it coming through clearly. Because it's a very big goal that you're sort of aiming for. So I mean, I think that's a great step, but there's quite a lot that is needed then to actually deliver on that vision of yours. And have you thought about that?
Yes, we are currently based in Gaborone. The office in Gaborone currently are receiving about 50 applications per week. So once we launch this platform, it means that instead of just the one location, we can then cover the whole country, where anybody in the country can access this license application form, and then we can submit in any office around the country. Yes, we'll need intense advertising for it to reach various clients and for them to adopt this automated license application format. And with the current COVID-19 restrictions, I think it would be a convenient way to get the license applications across without them going to the department's offices.
On that note, I would like to call it there. Thank you so much, Boydumelo. You're doing some cool and innovative work within Botswana. And thanks again to you and your team. Next up is Cultive AI. Cultive AI provides farmers with sorry, I was just checking if I was on mute. Cultive, sorry, give me a second, sorry. Cultive AI provides farmers with access to tech that helps produce food in a sustainable way. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Stefan. The floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Stefan. I am the co-founder of Cultivai, and we're a cultivation and crop management platform. Next. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of like reinvent the current food production model. We believe it's outdated. And we want to provide farmers with a digital transformation tool to bring out their their farming into like the digital age. Next. The problems we've identified is that farmer being a labor-intensive manual process, not only just for the laborers, but also for the farm managers. They have to be on site most of the time and also need to oversee a lot of their farming operations. That is also due to farmer and farmer experience and knowledge being quite siloed. Usually the information is in a journal or in their heads, or if we're lucky, a Excel or a farm management solution. Farm management and monitoring solutions also silo their data and are not really integratable easily with business analytic tools or other kind of analytics tools like QuickBooks, for instance, or that kind of stuff, and requires quite a lot of heavy lifting on the farmer to put all their knowledge into these systems, not to kind of like spend the time to know that it might not necessarily work the system for them. So the agri-tech solutions out there provide a lot of labor for farm and farm managers. Then the farming solutions aren't really future-proof, and we found none of them actually have IoT integrations. Next. So what we're kind of bringing as a solution is a 3-tier solution. So by cultivate, manage, and monitor. So cultivate is where the farmer stores his farming expertise, experience, and knowledge in the form of profiles or versions of profiles. That is then on a management level allows him to action that data or that knowledge into certain tasks and operational kind of like activities, which is managed by the platform. And then on top of that, allows it to monitor to see if those actions are actually bringing the farmer successes. And that monitor solutions are from IoT devices, Earth observational data, and a new trend, AIoT, which is artificial intelligence in IoT. Next. What we've been developing is a platform. You can go check it out at app.cultiva.ai or just check our website. We built it's totally live and you can go click around. We're at this stage, we're actively looking for users and farmers to interview, and we're interviewing farmers now to see if this is the something that they would actually want to use. So next, there's a website links. Next. So in terms of the market, we're looking at like high agricultural GDP and labor-based agri-economies. We're starting out with South Africa because we know South Africa. We're predominantly South African. And from there on, we want to move over to other high agricultural GDP economies. Next. Who we're specifically targeting in terms of farmers are small to medium scale farmers, indoor greenhouse grow room, tunnels, and small holding farmers. Farmers who are actively looking for digital transformation solutions, are future focused, risk averted, and also are looking to cultivate new crops or variations of their current crops. Next. We've done some market validation. Last year was a really good year for agri-tech investment, but also a lot of demand in the space due to COVID and climate change, where farmers are actually looking to digitize their operations. And the best way that at the moment it looks like is Earth observation and IoT hardware. Next. Back, yes. This is just some studies we've done on the market size. There's 600 million farmers on less than 2 hectares of land. There's a very big, the smart farming market is very big, and it's also growing at 12% compound growth rate. Next. What we're offering is like three tiers. So we're offering a software subscription with hardware. So that combination farmers can buy or rent from us. And we'll also provide them with custom installations, like if they want to have their own database or that kind of stuff, we'll provide that. And then what our last tier of revenue that we're going is this farmer knowledge, be able to have farmers sell or purchase certain profiles if they've identified a certain profile to work. So say, for instance, someone can do beets really well and someone wants to do beets, they can basically buy the knowledge from another farmer, and we're just brokering that deal. Next. What our value capture is, I think for us is being able to tag and track and trace and track produce for farmers is important. Having farmers to access their information and store and iterate over their expertise and knowledge, and kind of identify their success factors through measurements, helping them increase their yields, decrease their costs and labor. Also providing a security kind of like solution where they don't have to always be on site. They can actually push out these tasks, which is quite a high value. Next. On milestones, we've successfully deployed our devices and software on AWS, and we're actively just developing it. Next. Next. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it's my time's up anyway. So I think Tabu has just arrived, so that means I'm in trouble.
Thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt there. I just wanted you to step it up a little bit more, but hopefully whatever that wasn't covered in depth will be covered through the Q&A with our judges.
Cool. Hello.
So who would like to go first?
I'll have a stab. Hi, Stefan. Thanks for that presentation. In your one slide, you showed greenhouses and tunnel farmers being quite a focus. What percentage of your business, at least in the early stages, do you see being those particular farmers, tunnels and greenhouses?
Quite a large portion. So I think like almost 60% of initial farmers would probably be those kind of farmers, or just at least farmers that that don't have a lot of space. The only reason for it being is putting an IoT device in a field where a tractor can run it over might be a risk for large ag. So we're just not looking at large ag now because we just don't want to create too much problems for ourselves and our product in the beginning.
I mean, the only concern I have then is obviously Earth observation can't see through a tunnel, right? So the Earth observation component only really speaks to the part of your business that does large ag or
yes,
or small. Anyway, thanks.
Yes.
Stefan, thanks. it's an interesting angle. If I understand you correctly, you are, well, it's the first time that I've actually seen someone step back a bit from a real, the hands-on stuff on the farm to an IT or an information-related back end. What did you guys do there? I mean, what's your value proposition? Because the other guys are sort of tactical to me. To me, if I understand this correctly, is this more being able to step back and strategically look across a country, a region, to move tunnels to the right place? Or what are you guys thinking?
No, it's more of like yeah, it's more for actual farmers. So the farmers who wants to kind of like have more control in their farm, and then be able to get the data on a layer. So adding to Alex's Earth observation data, there's more to Earth observation than just static images. There's a lot of infrared data. There's a lot of that, and how things tie into each other is really important for us to create. Like we can provide a solution for just tunnel farms, right? But we're trying to focus on to see if we can provide a cultivation platform where all types of farmers can put their knowledge into it and then kind of track it however they want. So our first layer is just an IoT layer, but it's to kind of like, because farming operations are different for every farmer. So a farmer who's going into maize farming is not going to have the same set of parameters as a farmer who's doing strawberry or CBD farming. So we're trying to create and abstract out these properties or parameters around farming and make those properties and parameters actionable by the farmer by use of measurement inputs and by providing outputs via either push notifications or devices to push out information.
So if you're basically building a knowledge base, if I get this correctly, a
Yes.
knowledge base which you can broker. So is that your main revenue focus? Is on the brokering and the IP and the IP sharing? Or
Yes. So the long term is like actually an IP solution, because having farmers broker and share knowledge based on what they're growing. But to gain traction and to onboard farmers, you need to give them a practical way to actually go and put something on their farm so that they can actually want to use. But the more farmers you have, the more of these profiles you have, you can actually do a massive knowledge share where experienced farmers can actually help non-experienced farmer farm, because without having to do workshops or implementation, they can literally just buy a profile.
And is this something farmers want to do? I mean, some of that IP is quite closely held. So am I, as a farmer that's been doing this, going to put all my IP onto the web? I'm a farmer. I'm not necessarily sure how the web works, but I'm going to put it out there that anybody can get access to. I just wondering. I mean, as a model, are farmers? You said you're going to interview some people. Are they comfortable with that as an idea? Because there are big firms out there that obviously sort of control different genetics and different breeds of cultivars, and they sell that, and then they license those, and there's royalties. It's quite a big industry. So I'm just wondering how you plug into that.
Yeah, we're also exploring it, and I think the solution came from a problem that we had is I want to farm, but I don't know how to farm. But also we see that as an issue in South Africa, where there's a lot of new farmers getting into the market who don't know how to farm. So they have to find a way to get experienced farmers on board some way to help them teach them how to farm. So in the same sense, that's an IP transferal of knowledge. So why can't we just do it digitally? A farmer doesn't have to share his knowledge. He doesn't have to share all his knowledge. He can maybe share 75% of his knowledge, where the 10% is very sensitive, can be kept on the platform safe. He doesn't have to share that, because you can version things, right? So you can create like one species for tomatoes, make it that one, and want to kind of have a lot of people grow that tomatoes, but you're growing that really specific one that you really know how to like market and do that one really well, and you're going to keep doing it. And industry leaders like ZZ Tomatoes and those guys, they really have like a market branding presence. Why would they not want to share a little bit of their knowledge to smaller farmers to help them actually grow food? Like our argument is really going into a fruit production crisis in the long end. So if farmers want to keep these IPs and their knowledge siloed, they're doing at the risk of everyone like not being able to produce or make their own food. So yeah, we're figuring it out. So I mean, we're trying to just.
No, I think it's a great concept. It's just practically.
Yeah, practically, it's definitely. We spoke to a farmer. He was a strawberry farmer, and he was really adamant about not, like, Japanese strawberries are one of the most highly, like, I think they go for like $100 a pop, like US, and then they are really sensitive about releasing their information. And we assume a lot of people being that too, but that doesn't stop us from hiring a bunch of horticulturalists and getting the data into the system and us selling it ourselves.
Stefan and judges, I unfortunately have to call it there. In the sake of time, we have run over. Stefan, thank you so much for sharing your pitch with us. You are tackling food insecurity and mixing in the Internet of Things. The result, I'm excited to see. Awesome. Next up, I would like to introduce the South African Space Technology for Sustainable Development Foundation. The South African Space Technology for Sustainable Development Foundation is a Section 21 company falling under a non-profit and a member of the Ilembe Chamber of Commerce. It's focused on promoting innovations through AI, nanosatellites, or space sciences as a solution to a number of challenges facing our society. And without further ado, Tabani, the floor is yours.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Tabani Mazibuko, founder and CEO of Space-Tech Foundation. I'm a PhD candidate at the Durban University of Technology, focusing on space technology and tourism. It is funded by Space Science Institute. South African Space Technology for Sustainable Development Foundation is a Section 21 company, falls under the non-profit organizations. It is focusing on ensuring that space technology and satellite communications is used as a solution to a number of socio-economic challenges facing the society in a number of sectors like health, infrastructure, agriculture, and more. Our vision and missions are guided by space policies as well as sustainable development goals. Next slide. Actually, that was the slide. You can move on. Problem that we identified is the lack of community-based space technology facilities that is designed to educate communities, that is showing awareness to the community so that they can understand the benefit of the space technology and satellite communication in solving their challenges. There are no platforms that links innovators and communities where problems exist. We have the lack of youth space tech inspirational activities that can make sure that youth is participating in space technology and science. There is limited choice of technology, especially to the people who are using these sectors on daily basis for survival. They need technology closer to them, but technology is up there. People are there at a grassroots level, not attended, not using technology on daily basis. Innovations are shelved and archived without solving challenges. There is no clear local beneficiation, no inclusivity, and no diversification. That is leading to poor harvesting, poaching, illegal hunting, and other socio-economic challenges in the society. Next slide. Our proposed solutions is that there be facilities, there be more outreach, space technology and its benefit is taken down at a grassroots level in this format. Next slide. Yes, this is our desired outcome, where we can see buildings that is offering technology, that is showcasing number of technologies, where people at a grassroots level, farmers, those in tourism, those in nature conservation, those in other sectors, can come and make great deal choice of technologies that is suitable to their problems. You can take your kids, then you inspire them to participate in science and technology, where space lovers can come and see other countries and other companies like your SpaceX launching and see if there are faults. They are able to see that where did it go wrong? They come up with solutions in rural areas. Next slide. we've identified a number of sites, and some of the sites we've developed them. The one is near Durban, near King Shaka Airport, where we think there is an access to global and domestic people can see that. Market, we've already engaged municipalities, provincial government, national government, and other key sectors like your SMEs, like your cooperatives and other form of proprietorship. They are keen to see their technologies, to see their innovations, making change to the local people. We do not feel we have competition because people are focusing on designing technologies. We are bridging the gap where we say, yes, there are technologies, but how do we ensure that global and local technologies are used at a local level to benefit the societies? Next slide. This is what we've done so far, where we've trained youth, we've done workshops, we've been organizing, showcasing number of technologies with technical partners. You see other technical partners donating these, or this is made by local youth, and it is solving renewable energy problems in the communities. Then that's what we are trying to do. We are educating the people at a grassroots level and making more impactful meaning to the society. Next slide. We feel this can grow because SANSA, GSI, ZASpace, and other space communities, we are at the helping hand. Let us have these technologies. Let us have these technologies reaching the people who need them at a grassroots level. So let us make sure that these things are happening in the community. We feel this is an innovative concept that can bridge the gap against what we see, where people try technologies, these technologies, they are archived, or people just reject it, and innovators are starving. Why? People at a grassroots level need these innovations. They need to touch fourth industrial revolution. I thank you.
Thank you, Tabani, and well done. I would like to call upon the judges to fire away at you.
Tabani, if I can start, it's good to see you again. I love the interaction with you on the stream, that you were one of the roundtable members. So I'm a bit confused. Help me here. It's the first time in my life that I've seen an NPO pitch at a startup event like this, because I mean, this is all about getting a company going, and it's all about financial models, etc. So how does an NPO fit into that framework?
Thank you so much, Etienne. What we are trying to do, we do not want to be a crybaby type of foundation that is always seeking assistance, but we want to be involved in solving problems. We must have a business model so that whatever funding that is coming to us, we try to use that to solve more challenges. That's why I've highlighted where people can come, students can visit our organization to see number of exploration, number of astronomic solutions, so that can be solved and used to create more innovations to solve problems.
So maybe, I mean, I love your enthusiasm. I love your vision. I think your vision ties in exactly with what Kamal spoke about in the keynote. So 100% on your page. When I look at your presentation, there's a slide with lots of buildings and auditoriums and things, and that's expensive, very expensive. So I don't understand your business, the kind of Etienne's question. I don't understand your business model or your proposed funding model. So how are you going to do this? And to his point around the NPO, I'm not sure how the two are going to work. So maybe just a bit more on your business model and how you're going to fund some of these things.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, that's why we are here, because we are trying to make sure that we get funders, we get partners who will see value in this idea, so that we can have a building where people can come and see, witness this exploration, see innovations, have the choice of innovations relevant to their challenges, because we've been making outreach programs. People ask, but where are we getting these innovations? You find that if you are in Pongola, border of Swaziland, you will need to rely on Hermanus, Cape Town, in order for your child to see what is happening. More than 1,000 kilometers, you see. To make soil sample, a person needs to move from Pongola to Sidara in Pietermaritzburg, more than 600 kilometers. You see, so people must have the support of of proper infrastructure in terms of vehicle and buildings, where we can take these innovations, take direct to where people are, so that they can feel these innovations.
So I hear you. I'm just asking the question. So I'm a bank. I want to build that museum. That looks awesome. Okay, here's 10 million rand. How are you going to pay me back? That's what I need to understand. Because
yes,
that's how you're going to raise capital.
Thank you so much. I think that is why I put this slide that is showing that people will be visiting this. We'll even offer trainings and workshops in that facility. We will allow innovators to showcase their innovations at a fee. People will become hiring innovations. For example, if you do not see your wild animals for 5 days, you can come and borrow drones so that you can go and search your trapped animals. When you've got them, you bring them back. We have a number of items that are in that form of business model, so that we can self-sustain these buildings and other funds received by meaningful funders.
Thank you for that. And with that last question, well done, Tabani, on your pitch. And it seems like you are bringing space tech to rural areas and to those that don't normally have access to it. So looking forward to seeing your idea move forward.
I appreciate the platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, I would like to call upon Abiri Innovations. Abiri Innovations solve the cause of poor digital integration in peri-urban and rural areas by providing digital maps in areas Google Maps cannot reach in Africa. Tuelelo, please take it forward.
My friend and I were invited to a wedding in one of the major townships in South Africa. We left the city on time, relying on conventional navigation and maps. There was no way we could miss this. My friend was the best man. To cut the story short, as we entered Soweto, we realized we were lost. The navigation took us to the wrong house and had to rely on word of mouth for directions. And that's how Abiri Innovations was founded. Good day, my name is Solopit Mashita, the co-founder of Abiri Innovations based in Mokopane, Limpopo Province. Next. This slide depicts the majority of the metropolitan areas in Africa. Although most of them are separated by freeways, the differences are massive, like poor digital integration, especially the lack of digital household identity in peri-urban and rural areas, which hinders the mobility of essential services and economic activities. Next. As a solution to this problem, we provide digital maps in areas that Google Maps cannot reach and identify in Africa. We use census numbers on each household, as well as drones for those hard-to-reach places. Satellite imagery and data is crucial for us to scale, giving us that useful resource needed to create one of the most reliable digital maps, even in remote settlements. Next. The underlying magic in what we do is that we are connecting the underserved communities. Next. Since our value proposition is to offer integrated mapping systems, which gives peri-urban and rural areas digital identity, our target market consists of couriers, ride-sharing, and asset trading companies, where we'll generate revenue through subscriptions and pay-as-you-use model, starting from 250 rand per square kilometers. Our next phase will be a bigger or a moderate pilot project using satellite imagery and data on a smaller township such as Alexandra, which is about 6.91 square kilometers, before moving into our land target area size of 518 square kilometers, which consists of 8 major townships in Gauteng. Next. We will employ a multi-channel marketing plan consisting of direct outreach, social media platforms, and other digital marketing strategies. promotions on Apple Store and Google Play, among others, in order to reach our serviceable addressable market valued at over 500 million rands. Next. Most of our competitors are international companies with global footprints, but what sets us apart is that we are creating value for the underserved communities, giving them digital identity, something which none of our competitors are doing at the moment. Next. We're a highly driven team of 6 with combined experience of 23 years, ranging from software to business development. For example, my co-founder, Innocent Mazando, has over 10 years of experience in software development. Our IT engineer, Joseph, has over 4 years of experience, and Cynthia Mesen, who's our marketing specialist, has worked on several digital marketing strategies and has over 6 years of experience. I have 4 years of experience in business development, and I've got a degree in Bachelor of Sciences and other small online courses from IBM, such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, and this enterprise design thinking. Next. Since satellite imagery and data is projected to cost us 350 Rand per square kilometers, our target land area size of 518 square kilometers will cost us 182,000 Rand, where we will charge a subscription fee starting from 250 Rand, where 4 clients, each spending 50,000 per year, will enable us to break even and generate a profit of 18,000 Rand. Next. We are targeting at least 50 clients, where each will pay 50,000 per year, so that we can generate 2.5 million in our first year of operation from the target land area size that we mentioned before, which is 518 square kilometers. Next. Some of our achievements include a completed pilot project, which was done in a community outside Mokopane. We are also the winners of the SAIS poster pitch competition, which was organized in Helsinki, Finland, 2019. Next. Abiri Innovations connect the disconnected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Twelelo. Now it's time for the Q&A. Judges, do we have pertinent questions for Twelelo?
Twelelo, if I can start quickly, you mentioned Google Maps a couple of times and how they cannot provide you with a solution, and you guys are going to find a way of doing it through satellite imagery. Can you maybe just give a very quick example of that situation?
So what we found, and this was part of our mini pilot project that we did outside the community in Mokopane. What we found very useful in most communities, which I think most of these major companies are not taking advantage of, is the census numbers that. Yes. Hello?
Yes, listening.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Carry on.
Hello?
I think we have a technical glitch. Zwelelo, are you able to
Hello?
hear us?
Can I be audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You can proceed.
Hello?
We hear you.
Twelelo, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So what we found, okay, cool. What we found useful is the census numbers on each household that the government has left on each household. That was very useful for us to see that we can use that number because it's almost everywhere in almost every community. So what we do is we replace the coordinates with that census number, which because generally that number has been used almost as a form of identification in these communities already. So what we do is we replace.
Fellow judges, while we wait for Abiri to reconnect, just some thoughts from my side, which I'd like to present as a question, but in the absence, I'll just share it with you. My one concern is, there are companies like OpenStreetMaps. I didn't see that as a competitor. Also, What 3 Words. These are massive companies, global reach. OpenStreetMap have a goal of mapping the entire globe right down to village level. Just interested to have heard, how a startup's going to compete with these behemoths, that have existing technology.
Alex, great question. Same question. I think that's the crux of it.
Yeah. Sorry. We were just saying, Swelelo, can you hear us now?
Can you repeat that question? I didn't get it.
Sure. I'm just concerned that I didn't see someone like OpenStreetMaps. You know, their vision is to map the entire globe down to village level at scale. Also, what 3 words? These are big companies, established companies that are trying to do similar things to what you're doing. I'm just wondering how a
Yes,
startup is planning to compete with these companies. Thank you.
Lilo? I think going forward, since we're struggling with his connection there, judges, can we compile a list of questions that we would like to shoot off to Tolelo, and we'll send him an email, and he will then respond back to us via email. Is that fine for everyone? All right, thank you so much for that, and thanks Tolelo if you can hear us. Next up, I would like to invite Sturtium. Sturtium is a built environment and technology-focused startup that was founded late in 2019. Rashawn?
Yes, good day. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Okay. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rashawn Ramlal, and I'm one of the co-founders of Sturtium. And today I'll be presenting our pitch for the ZA Space-Tech Challenge. Next. Next. Yes. You skipped one, sorry. Thanks. So Sturtium is a South African startup aimed at using science and engineering to provide solutions to local and global challenges that integrate technology, environmental needs, and social needs. We have 2 partners which have relevant qualifications, expertise, and experience to this aim, as well as an assistant member to handle marketing. Next. Challenges exist around facilitating employment creation, economic growth, and social development while managing environmental impacts. And this comes with an opportunity to harness satellite data, machine learning, as well as other data techniques to facilitate a transition towards a greener economy. Next. Our technology, people, and nature integrated solution involves collecting and analyzing data to more easily identify where sustainability challenges are prevalent and to determine what solutions are best fitted or make new solutions. Next. Key to this, our central component, is our Sustain Attack platform, which I've posted in the chat. It's a platform for entities involved in solving sustainability challenges and is aimed at providing insights on their work, progress, and facilitating discussions, as well as location intelligence on products and services. Next. As can be seen here, a screenshot of our database, which allows you to search for different categories, a map which allows you to search for what products and services are found in your area based on descriptive tags, and the discussion forum. Next. Earth observation data is utilized with machine learning to identify objects, land use types, waste patches, and monitoring those issues over time. And this is combined with other data such as soils and geochemistry to determine relationships. An example can be seen here of machine learning, which is applied for land use classification in Pietermaritzburg, South Africa. Next. How it all works is our 3 major aspects come together, used to derive the datasets on different components. This is then analyzed through different data science analytics techniques and used to derive the outputs on insights to assist with problem solving and decision making and driving more sustainable investments and job creation. Next. These are just some of the many examples of what our system or applications can be used for, ranging all the way from waste management all the way down to the well-being of communities. Next. We have a diverse target market due to the large applicability ranging from public institutions to insurance and legal agencies. Our target market is generally reached through direct contacting, social media marketing, and content creation and featuring in work and projects. Next. Through comparative analysis, we have determined that these 2 currently existing businesses are our main competitors or are most similar to ours. And our competitive edge comes from our focus on African businesses and nonprofits, which the others lack details on. We're also the first dedicated platform of this kind in Africa. Our platform is more open. We also incorporate location intelligence and perform direct analysis to assist with solution development. In addition, we consider all aspects of sustainability, while the other businesses are more focused on technologies and products. Next. We have a business model which is driven by advertising and services at the current phase of time, with the platform being free to access and revenues generated from direct advertising and provision of services and partnerships. Ads are non-intrusive, non-conflicting, and do not limit the user experience. And in the future, we do aim to transition to a bit of a paid model. Next. These are just some of our financial details, with the expected operational cost being about 300,000 Rand a year, and some conservative estimates for our first full year of operation once the technology is rolled out. The expansion potential is considerable, as this is a relatively new market and the revenue could grow significantly. Next. We've made quite a bit of progress to date, with a large number of users already visiting the platform, several businesses and nonprofits already being listed. We also have the platform which has been developed and is gaining user traction for discussions. Potential advertisers have already shown interest with some ads currently placed, and we're currently developing our analytics and machine learning applications for display on the site. We are also in the process of sourcing investments and partnerships in order to continue developing our systems and offerings. Next. In conclusion, we'd like to state that with the data analytics, mapping, and insights that this platform can provide, combined with our team expertise and partnerships with institutions and businesses, as well as a strong opportunity exists to assist with the transition towards a more sustainable and equitable economy in Africa. Next. Thank you. These are our contact details and the links to our websites and platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now for the Q&A. I would like to call upon our judges.
Rashad, maybe the Earth guys will ask you some of that questions. Just explain to me your business model. So very simplistically, you're a Facebook where you want people to sign up for free, and then because you get a big user base, you can then advertise to them. Is that kind of simplistically? And then just on your, where did you get 500 Rand per ad? And typically ad guys generally go on sort of a per click basis. So I'm just wondering if I were to fund you as an investor, what am I funding?
Okay. Yes. So we're not exactly Facebook. That discussion forum platform is only a small aspect of it, and there's other aspects of the platform. So we're not working on a cost per click basis, and we just wanted to offer a flat rate. So that 500 Rand per ad is relatively cheap compared that's the rate for the entire year of placing an ad. So as opposed to if somebody were to put an ad on Facebook for the same amount of time, although they have much more readers, it's going to cost a lot more, and we're not basing it on cost per click or cost per impression, just a flat rate. And also we're going to generate revenue through the sale of data sets and all providing analytics services through other aspects of the platform that we are planning to roll out. So that would also bring in quite a bit of revenue. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it helps.
I mean, just a follow-up to that. The traffic that you're seeing on your site, how do you see that from the 400? How do you see that scaling up, and what would be a sort of golden number for advertisers to become interested in placing adverts on the site?
Okay. So ideally, I'd say that because we do have quite a bit of users also signing up for the discussion platform, and we are getting new businesses being placed on there. The ads, although it's not, we're not looking at a massive market, so the ads aren't going to be quite on the cheap side. Especially 500 Rand for an entire 12 months is a very cheap compared to what ads usually cost. So we're usually looking at that appeal. So the selling point is not going to reach billions or millions like as if you were going to put on Facebook, with maybe about 100,000 or so.
Can I just maybe, Rashid, I'm going to leave you with a very critical comment. 500 Rand is cheap if you actually get anything back for it. The 500 Rand is a hell of a lot of money if you get Zippo back for it. I think from a company point of view, you need to think about, and look, I've been in companies where I've tried to find money, etc., and people do not part with money. People talk easily, but to put it down, even if it's 500 Rand, if you can't prove the value to them, they just don't do it. So you need to really, really work hard on what your value proposition is to people. It doesn't go far to say that 500 Rand is cheap. It just doesn't fly with anyone. That just comes from very, very hard experience in trying to do this myself.
Yeah, and we do understand that, and that's why the ads is only a relatively small component of our total revenue that we're looking at, ways of bringing in revenue.
But then in your pitch, that for me, and maybe I just read it late last night, but that doesn't come through for me in terms of all the other things. It kind of feels like the sort of the ads is almost your primary piece. I'm sort of not picking up what the rest of the value prop is.
Oh, okay. I can explain it. So, generally, the data sets that we hope to derive from our machine learning applications and the self-delighting will involve like sale of reports and different data sets depending on what people want, and also actually being sort of a consultant to the different businesses that are listed on the site and helping with their development, so we'd get some revenue from that as well.
Yeah, so maybe just echoing, I think what Etienne was saying, I think for you, what would be really good is it's almost being very clear what your value prop is, what your focus area is, and then sort of aim for that. Because now it even hearing you talk, it just feels like there's lots of possibilities, and I think you definitely have a lot of opportunities, but you need to figure out which ones you want to actually go for. Because when an investor comes in, they want to hear what you're excited about and how you're going to scale and how you're going to pay their money back. And it's not coming through. It's coming through that there's lots of options, but you're kind of doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So that sounds almost unconvicted. So what are you convicted in, and what are you going to do wholeheartedly for the next year to make it happen?
Yeah, if I could just add to that, just echoing that, if I look at your webpage and your your pitch, farm outfitting, ag design, soil water, I mean, there's a whole host. There's space agencies that have been set up to address all of these solutions. And again, just echoing the focus on at least one or two of these to start with, rather than the whole smorgasbord.
About that, actually, the pitch was more about our SustainAttack platform, which I did post on the chat as well. So that's our main
where are you using Earth observation data then on that tagging platform?
Yes. So we haven't actually put it on there as of yet, but it's going to be used to. One of the main examples that we're currently looking at is to identify waste and waste management issues in and around the city and urban areas, especially with results to water resources. So we actually want to put out data relating to that on the site, and lots of other different techniques that we did kind of brush over in the presentation.
Thank you. Are there any last questions, as I think we have 2 minutes to spare from the judges?
What is it that the platform is bringing to some of the existing solutions that Alex has talked about that would make the existing users come towards your platform? What advantages is it bringing? I know you had the slide with the previous or the two companies that you talked about, but I think those companies were not in the same sort of providing some sort of services that Alex was talking about. So
yeah. So we're not trying to utilize Earth observation for agriculture or all of the things that were listed on our company website. This pitch was for the SustainAttack applications and using to actually assist with the rollout of sustainable development initiatives and actually helping the businesses out there with scaling their market and generating revenue from themselves, and actually identifying where the problem areas are. For example, where's all this waste management problems most concentrated in South Africa or a specific city, or how often does leakages occur during this pipeline, for example, and actually matchmaking those two solutions, or actually utilizing the intelligence on based on location data, chat to what people talk about in the communities to actually identify what the best solutions are. So the platform itself has different offerings more than just the Earth observation data. So it provides you information on the different businesses and products, allows you to actually talk to people, to discuss stuff. And we want to harness all that kind of data to actually help solve the different challenges that we've highlighted. So I think some of the confusion might have come from actually going to our main company website instead of
Thank
the
you very much.
Sustainatag website. Thanks.
Oh, sorry. Okay, no, thank you very much, Roshan. And thank you to the judges. And with that, this brings the session to a close. You can go stretch, eat, grab coffee. We'll be back and we'll get to hear from the last remaining startups and seeing what cool and innovative solutions they have to share with us. Please do not, for those that are on YouTube, please do not close the link. Stay on and we'll see you in a bit. Culture, sustainability, and development, conservation problems could be solved through spatial data. And now let's see how poverty reduction, urban mapping, insurance, and energy problems can be solved through space tech. I would like to call upon Fourth Line to kick off this session for us. Okay, it looks as though our startup is not here yet. So if you can just please give them a second to come on. Sorry about that. It looks like we might need to just play a pre-recorded video of their pitch for us. So give us a second while we get that going.
About 60% of the population in Zambia lives below the absolute poverty line. 42% were classified as extremely poor at small-scale and rural farming communities. Hi, my name is David Watson Mwavila. I'm the co-founder of Fourth Line, a social enterprise that is leveraging on the use of big data, artificial intelligence, and satellite imagery to bring farm-specific crop and livestock diagnosis tools to small-scale farmers. Most small-scale farmers in Zambia experience the problem of low crop productivity and information gaps that exist between their farm and the financial lending institution. This is largely owed to the fact that there's no farm records, there are no predictability models on how much a farmer can produce and has produced over time. This leads to the farmers being perpetually poor despite being farmers for many, many years. What Fourth Line is doing is utilizing the use of big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and satellite imagery to bring to farmers crop-specific, actionable information in real time, as well as facilitate lending between financial providers and farmers through credit risk scoring models. What we're trying to do is our innovation, which we've called the Agriculture Intelligence Engine, seeks to provide farm-specific and crop-specific information to the farmer in real time on their phone. Now, owing to the fact that most farmers do not have smartphones, we've integrated the use of a USSD platform, which we're calling Pollen, which we've managed to roll out with the technical partnership of the service providers in Zambia, such as Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel. We are targeting a total addressable market in the region of about $1.5 million. Our SAM addressable market is about $2.1 million, and our target market is $1.5 million local. Our competitive advantages largely lie on the user-friendliness of our USSD platform. It's time-saving, reduces the farmer's cost of managing the farm, and improves efficiency. We are targeting to onboard 2,500 farmers who will be empowered with market access and ready to use farm actionable information. This will allow them to be able to generate and earn high income sources, which will positively contribute towards lifting them out of poverty. We seek an investment of around $200,000, which will largely be focused on capacity building for the farmers, infrastructure development for our data analytics and artificial intelligence model, and will go towards the digitization of the entire agriculture ecosystem, from the crops that the farmers produce to the livestock and the management models associated therein. Thus, an investment in us does not only positively contribute towards reducing poverty, but it is also positively contributing towards improving the food and nutrition that people consume, and also positively contributing towards eradicating hunger. Thank you.
I would like to introduce Georgie from GeoAlert. He's a developer of an AI-powered mapping platform and a service provider. And some of the technologies or the products that he offers is MapFlow and urban mapping. Georgie, please take the show.
Thank you, Taba. Yeah, hello everyone. We are GeoAlert, and maybe you're surprising. We are the only one company in other continent. But we are here because we do maps across some of African countries using global satellite data, and we do it applying machine learning technologies to satellite imagery to extract features. We love maps and data science in our team, and that's why we like to free data analysts from time-consuming work, like manual mapping and a lot of amount of work doing manually, and we like to provide cartographers with powerful assistant tools. Next, please. Next slide. Starting from the demand for accurate mapping data in less time and with less cost, you can see that AI-assisted mapping can be tuned up to the sufficient quality and accuracy. But comparing to traditional mapping, it reduces costs drastically, and it can reduce time drastically. We've just launched our brand new application to work with our platform called mapflow.ai, and we've completed our biggest project of extraction of building footprints over all Russian territory, which counts about 50 million of features. And we up to complete the project counts 10 million buildings footprints across Africa, and we are looking forward to expanding our coverage. Next, please. Talking about our customers, we work with large and small enterprises, and we help them to overcome technical barriers, to reduce time costs. Some companies are from just special markets, some from data analytics, and we are looking forward to exploring more industries demanding for this special data. Next, please. Here are some samples of our product generated in the platform. We have special tool called construction monitoring, which allows to detect construction sites at a large scale. Next, please. Getting closer to Africa, we already got insights that the agriculture tech market is growing rapidly, and we are looking forward to helping companies who do IT at agriculture to do it more effectively. We are applying our model for extraction of boundaries of fields, and we run some experiments of extraction of roads. And the most robust model we have implemented into our platform is extraction of building footprints with height estimates, which is important to know where people live to generate population density maps and to calculate number of households, identify households for such industries like retail, construction development, insurance, and more. Next, please. We have a very clear pricing model based on the area size and provides significant discounts depending on the total area requested by the customer within a subscription period. Next, please. We have our plan growing domestically and on international markets, and the key drivers help us to growing is more and more data coming from Earth observation systems and new markets for data consumption we are exploring now. Next, please. You see our traction last year in terms of revenue in thousands, and you see urban mapping launched for Africa. You see the launch of mapflow.ai, and we hope it helps us growing rapidly. Next, please. I already mentioned that we love maps and data science. I'm CEO of company. I have extensive experience in GIS and remote sensing technologies and 5 more years in entrepreneurship. We have strong technical guys on our team, like Pavel, who is Kaggle master, and we know of some international competitions in data science. Next, please. Now we start thinking about raising some investments for international business development. But our most goal is to find new partners in new development markets to make mapping and to make new friends as well. Thank you very much for your attention. Yeah, here we have our short video recorded of how the platform works. And if we still have time, I'd like to comment on this. So user have to define area of interest and start the processing. User selects some area, uploading his coordinates, and then he selects the appropriate AI model, and then he obtains the results. Like here, we see building footprints displayed on the top of interactive map, and it can be displayed in the external application. It can be downloaded in JSON format and implemented into your own solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgie. I would like to call on the judges for a Q&A.
Thank you, Georgie. Maybe I can jump in here. Obviously, I think it's fascinating presentation, but I need a bit of clarity in my mind around a Russian company presenting at an African startup. So I assume you guys are thinking of investing a lot of money in an African startup, or how do we need to look at this?
Well, we consider it as an opportunity to find more partners. Maybe some of startups you are going to invest in, maybe not us. but we are trying to build sustainable value-added chain from data providers to end clients. And now we appreciate this opportunity to make new friends among African startup community, which is obviously growing. So this is the main opportunity for us.
Okay, thank you.
Georgie, hi. I know you know my colleague Ilya Yudin very well, and it's nice to meet you in person. So you've made one new friend here. Just interested, I'm pretty sure you're aware of the Digital Africa project that we implemented together with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I'm not sure if you've seen Grid 3 have taken that data. Those are building footprints for the entire Africa, aggregated them into 100-meter grids, and provide that data free to African governments. In my experience, that's a big take-up on this free data and quite a big gap to selling actual footprints on a parcel basis. Just wondering if you've done any analysis on the impact of these sort of free aggregated data sets.
I have heard about the project doing by Ecopia, which aims to map building footprints for sub-Saharan Africa, and I think that it's worth to think about implementing more solutions, not only for building footprints but for other types of object, and we just started from Western Africa. That's why we make difference from what Ecopia does, I think, and we like to connect to other companies, maybe to build some solutions that can benefit from such integration. Like navigation, like insurance, we were demanded to provide data about household for insurance industry. That's the main purpose, how to diversify these solutions.
Interesting. Just a suggestion to Reese and the organizers. It's probably a good idea to introduce Georgie to at least agro data. They're one of the pitches that, I don't know if you've been watching the pitches, but in Nigeria, looking at field boundaries, a lot of geolocation type companies. So hopefully, you get some benefit out of being introduced to those offline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? And Alex, just to answer that one quick, we had a networking session where Georgie did get to meet him, so they're already in touch.
Yeah, we will keep in touch with them. Yeah, sure.
Any further questions from the judges? Okay, thank you very much, Georgie. That was insightful, and thank you very much. Up next, I would like to call on Conte IPC. So a little bit about Conte IPC. They use Earth observation data to track and recover stolen household content and movable assets for corporates, institutions, organizations, and SMMEs. So Khotso, I'd like to hand over to you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello? Anyone hear me? Can you hear me, Scott?
Yes, Khotso, we can hear you.
Okay. Can Daniela load my slides, please? I can't see them. Okay. Hello everybody. My name is Khotso Malwe from Conte IPC. We are a security company specializing in asset tracking and asset recovery. We track cell phones, TVs, fridges, microwaves, computers, laptops, printers, and anything electric and electronic. We track and recover them when stolen. Next. Criminals are brazenly entering our homes and places of business. This SAPS crime stat says that we had about 830 incidences of household burglary and robbery, and just over 150,000 business robberies. There's also no immediate notification in the event of a security breach. Next. The cost of security solutions are quite high for the average South African, and industry leaders have made little to no effort in innovating new techniques to increase security, to increase access to security-based solutions and increase its impact on society. And there's also no tracking and recovery solution provider for household-based assets. Next. We offer immediate and adequate notification, low-cost access to security solutions, and we track and recover household-based assets. Next. Our solution is quite simple. It's a tracking hardware, a software tracker, and a monitoring platform. Next. Next. Our hardware tracking asset consists of a GPS, GSM, and a GPRS. We install this into household assets, and we're able to track its location and recover them when stolen. Next. Next. We also have a software tracking enabler, which is both invisible and can be hidden. This can also be accessed at Google Play and Apple iStore. Next. Next. Our monitoring platform has a back end, front end, and a mobile application. Next. Next. So our key functionalities are power on and off. With this one, as soon as the asset is removed from the power source, it's able to notify both the asset owner and me as a security company, and we can go through a confirmation process. We also have geofencing, real-time tracking, and find device. Next. We offer app download at 99 Rand once off and 20 Rand per month on a 2-year contract. For individual homeowners, it's 390 installation and 20 Rand per month on a 2-year contract. And for businesses, installation is also at 390 and 30 Rand on a 2-year contract per month. Next. We believe that there is a market because the entire security industry of South Africa is worth 78 billion, devices 3 billion, and the telematics industry 17 billion. We also believe that there is a market because more and more people are buying electric and electronic based people who are trying to steal those assets. Next. Our go-to-market is quite simple. We will use our cell phone tracking enabler to target the cell phone insurance market. The cell phone insurance sector, the cell phone insurance seller, about 13 million cell phones were sold last year, in which 2.5 million were on contract, and this is the market that we want to target. So therefore, our customer becomes the cell phone insurance provider, and the end user becomes the policy holder. And the value proposition we provide is that we recover the cell phone and we return it to the owner. This means that there is a 100% saving. We recover the cell phone and we sell it at auction. There is value retained, and so therefore there is also a saving retained. And if we do not recover the asset at all, we will contribute 50% to the purchase of the new asset. This means that there is 50% savings. Once we have the end user from our customer, the cell phone insurance provider, we hope to turn them into a consumer of our other product, which is a hardware tracking enabler. Next. We believe that there is a market because according to the Victims of Crime report survey commissioned by Statistics South Africa, there were more than 1.5 million incidences of household burglary. They also reported that people were unhappy with policing. the cost of security solutions is quite high, and there's no tracking and recovery solutions. Next. Next. Based on we've completed direct fundamental research, direct applied research. We are in the development phase. We have a minimum viable prototype, working on building our fully functional prototype. Next. We are currently building our fully functional prototype at a cost of 460,000 rand. After that, we'll go into pilot phase. Next. We are a team of 3. Next. We also have a board of 5, which are all co-founders, and we also have advisors from different sectors of the economy. Next. We also have a commercial pilot partner, and we'll be generating 144,000 out of that. Next. We've won numerous business competition, including Sometime Safety Idea. Next. We were also the inaugural winners of the Cell-C Innovation Challenge, and we secured 1.2 million in interest-free debt, and we were part of the enterprise supply development. Next. Thank you very much. We were also named in the top 10 finalists for the Swiss SA Venture Leaders Program. Thank you.
Thank you, Khotso, and well done. I would like to call on the judges.
Thank you very much. Question from my side, I think, is how does the Earth observation data use intersect with the solution that you are providing?
Excuse me, could you repeat your question?
How do you use Earth observation data within the solution that you are providing?
Okay, basically our hardware uses a GPS in it to locate the asset, and in the event where the asset has been stolen or there's confirmation of breach of security, we use both the satellite and the GPS within our tracking hardware to track the location of the asset and recover it when stolen. So it's a GPS together with satellite services.
There's no use of imagery in the solution. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Any other questions from our judges?
Yeah, maybe just a few. So, I mean, just on the business model side. So a couple of things here. So actually, it's industry that we've been involved in a couple of places. But so your end-to-end model, are you involved in recovery as well? So I mean, that's the first question. So there's that element. The cost of the hardware, is that factored into your business case? And how are you going to compete with the incumbents in the market? Because this security industry is a massive industry. It's highly competitive, and it's fragmented. There's some really big players, and there's a lot of little small players locally. So most people who have home security already have some kind of a receiver in their house. So I just trying to figure out your angle. And then, is it economically viable to sort of track a TV or a washing machine that's been stolen?
Okay. Thank you for your questions. The first one you asked was, are we involved in the recovery? No, we are not involved in the recovery nor the installation of the asset. We outsource that. We are looking at a possible partnership with 2 players, which are the 2 largest players in the market today for installation and recovery. The second one is that we build our first tracking unit at home at the cost of about 1,154 rand. But as soon as we took our design to a manufacturer in China, we were able to reduce that to 255 rand. Yeah, and in terms of is it economically viable, or in terms of competing in the market today, there's no security company in the market today that offers tracking and recovery solutions for household assets. So their solutions are traditional. Install a camera, install motion sensors, and this solution is not accessible to the majority of South Africans. So your township-based economy, and this is the largest market, and this is also the market that needs security-based solutions more than any other piece of the market today. Now, to answer, is it economically viable? For a person who earns between about 1,000 to 8,000 on a monthly basis, and they purchase a TV, it's not the same as if a person who earns just above 30,000 to 100,000 on a monthly basis. So that is an asset that he has paid money for, so it's an investment. For him, yes, it is. So for the past 3 years, we've talked to 2 types of people, and what we have found is that for those who earn, who are middle class to emerging middle class and realized middle class, this is not a product for them. But for others who are below, who earn just under 11,000 rand, this is a product for them. And there's about 20 to 25 million of them. Yeah, so it's the largest market, and it's the market that does not have a variety of security-based solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Khoto. Unfortunately, judges, that's all the time we have for questions. I would now like to go to ABCD Electricity. I'd like to bring them to stage. ABCD Electricity wants to enable customers to easily understand their existing or planned solar PV systems in the areas where they've lived, worked, and using satellite data. So I would like to hand over to Tinashe.
Yes.
Tinashe, yes. It's all yours.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, good morning. My name is Tinashe Jambo, and I'm here pitching for ABCD Electricity. Next slide. There is a huge potential in Africa to utilize more energy from renewable sources. Our vision is to enable customers to easily understand their existing or planned PV installations or wind power systems in the areas where they live and work. Next slide. New solar PV installation or wind energy customers require technical services to be able to size their installations, know how much forecast the energy that they are going to be able to harvest, while the existing customers need technical assessment to measure the efficiency of their installed systems. We at ABCD Electricity, we aim to make the understanding of a customer's installation simple as ABCD while being accurate and insightful. Next slide. We use the local information from the installation, combining with analysis techniques and satellite data to be able to come up with a comparison of the energy being produced, the consumption, and the forecasted energy based on the satellite data to measure the efficiency of the current system. Or where there is no installed system, we use the satellite data and the irradiation data. We use that to forecast the energy that will be produced in the location and forecast or estimate the savings as well. So we integrate in an existing installation, we integrate our software with plant management software. Then we allow the customer to know when and where exactly to clean or maintain their system in order to optimize the yield. We also provide up-to-date metrics, historical data, and clear recommendations for customers. Next slide. Our offering is via a user-friendly web application. It allows our customers to easily acquire information at their fingertips whenever they want it. This includes through the use of automated updates and suggestions. Our initial market would be B2C customers, We are targeting an approximate of 500 customers at a monthly subscription of about 45 Rand. We can also serve B2B customers and larger installations like in a B2G, business to government customer model where we monitor solar farms. Next slide. We aim to improve in our go-to-market plan, we aim to improve our prototype. We have a prototype that is monitoring a live site that is currently producing solar, and that is available at monitor.abcdelectricity.com. And we aim to sign up B2C customers for our solar PV system, and we aim to sign up about 500 customers in Southern Africa. Next slide. Our existing competitors include companies that provide PV panel health monitoring system. However, these solutions require third-party hardware to be installed at the site. Our technology does not require any hardware to be installed on the site, and it is completely non-contact. Most of these companies, they are not from Africa, and compared to these customers, we aim to have a more accurate use of data and representation of this data in a user-friendly. Our model is just more of a click and go without any hassles. Next slide. Our team consists of Tinashe Jambo and myself and Graham Morrison, my partner. I'm a mechanical engineer and Graham is a material scientist. Besides our science and engineering background, I have experience in software development, and Graham is experienced in the space industry, and we have both worked on other startup ventures. Next slide. The current status of ABCD Electricity is that we have a registered website, and we have built a prototype which is using live production data from a site, and it is on that URL, monitor.abcdelectricity.com. So what we'll see on the live site monitoring is an actual production from at a given time, in actual production, then a forecasted production based on the satellite data, and the savings from the generated power, and a comparison really of the actual production and the forecasted production from the satellite data. Next slide. Our next step in our roadmap is to improve the web application and test it with initial customers. We intend to roll out our solar PV offering with an aim of signing up about 500 customers. We would also like to provide our service to businesses and possibly sign up a bigger customer like a government for wind installations and solar farm monitoring. And we could possibly look in the future to provide hardware offerings where instead of collecting data from other inverters, we have our own inverters that are then installed whenever PV installations are done, which would really just make it easier as you won't require an API. So thank you. Next slide. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Tinashe. I would like to call upon the judges.
Thank you very much. I just want to sort of understand what the use of and how you're using Earth observation data for this. Are you looking at using Earth observation data to look at solar potential in a particular area and wind potential? Yeah, so that maybe is the first question.
Yes. So we are using solar observation data to look at solar potential and wind potential, and based on that data, we get a forecast of the solar irradiation data when we're discussing PV installations, which is a prototype we have now. We get solar irradiation data that would be available at a particular point at a given time. So then using that data, we can forecast the energy production, and then we compare that with actual energy production from the site for an for a site that is an installation. So doing that and collecting that data over time will allow us to know and schedule things like preventive maintenance to enable an installation to always collect optimal data, because solar panels get dirty, they get damaged. So without some sort of a dashboard, you will not be able to know.
Mm-hmm. Where are you getting the solar potential data and the wind potential data from? Are you generating it within the company using satellite data, or are you using existing services that are available there to get that? And which sort of satellite data or which services are you using for that?
So currently we were using, for the prototype, we worked with an existing API that gives you, like, they give you related data to a geographical point at a cost, right? But so we use that for the prototype, but we aim to improve our model in the future to just be able to get the data and process it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So at the
I would
moment,
think I think Meteosat provides a free service. I don't know what paid service you're using, but for sure Meteosat second generation is providing that data. Just a question on my side. So when you install and maybe I missed it, but when you install a solar panel, I mean, you're assisting on, what should I install? When should I install it? Surely there's software on the device I install, right? I mean, it's either lighting my house up or it's not, right? And various metrics on measuring that. Are you finding any potential competition from, the sort of in situ monitoring rather than the satellite monitoring of efficacy? And then also, have you considered also aspect? A lot of houses don't face north. If you drive past Alexandra on the highway, you can see houses facing south and suboptimal placement of these solar panels. The exact location. Have you considered that as well?
Yes, exactly. So when we fetch the data related to a point, we include all things like the orientation and the tilt in the pan. As to the other question about competition from the software that comes with the installation itself, I think what we are doing is we are actually complementing that, because we need that data, so we integrate with, like, for example, now the site we are monitoring has got a Solar Edge inverter, and Solar Edge does give us an API to access the data related to the production on that particular site and the consumption. So using that data and then comparing it with the satellite data, we're able to then provide the solution.
Mm-hmm. What is the market potential for this product, particularly in the consumer sector? Is there likely huge uptake of this product? I can see the business to business type of uptake, particularly solar installations or wind installations, and but on the consumer side, I'm just wondering what the sort of market after what the uptake of a product like this would be.
Okay.
Can that be the last question? Unfortunately, because of time constraints. So, Tinashe, if you would like to.
I don't know if you heard the question or.
Yes, I have heard the question. I believe we could see some reasonable uptake based also on the pricing for the B2C model, which I presented at 45 Rand. It really, we believe it would be within reach of many current solar PV owners.
Mm-hmm.
As affordability in this case would also be a very key.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well done on your pitch, and it's quite interesting to see how you have you're managing to bridge the gap between the use of space-tech data and the PVC's systems. So well done on that. Well done.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. We will now be going back to Agriot. Unfortunately, earlier on, they were having internet connectivity issues, but we've managed to get them back on the line. And Jabu will now provide his pitch for us. And just a little bit of a background before he goes. Smart Agriot is a cloud-based digitization and farm management platform for smallholder farmers to promote precision agriculture solutions, including data gathering by satellite and drones, weather information and soil sensors, as well as other data-driven farming practices. So Jabu, please lead us.
Thank you, and thank you for the second chance to make the first impression. Thank you very much. My name is Jabu from Smart Agriot. Next slide. The problem that we are addressing that is faced by many smallholder farmers in South Africa and also in Africa is really about access. Is about being inclusive or being exclusive, and that's around the areas of technologies, human resources, finance, and also markets. Will agree with me that many smallholder farmers, they especially in South Africa, they control a small percentage, like 15%. 15% share, but they are also over 85% of these farmers. So we're talking of farmers here over 4 million in South Africa, and also in Africa over 50 million. So these are challenges, these are problems that needs to be tackled, and that's what our solution is about. Next slide, please. And it will be nice, in the eyes of the farmer that can have access to any information on the farm, be able to predict what's going to happen on the farm, know if there's going to be any challenges that they need to deal with in the future. And it's every farm's dream also to be able to share the successes of the farm, what the farm can do, and to be able not to worry about heavy capital cost, not to worry about having resource or consulting. Farmers' dream to have in the future to become a smallholder, a small commercial farmer. So these are some of the propositions that we believe our solution presents, where it deals with these challenges. Value. Next slide, please. So our solution really is about starting with the digitization. And then once we've digitized the farm, obviously we have to manage the farm. We believe that without digitizing, it's very difficult to manage. So the digitization and the management really assist the farmers to achieve most of these that I've listed here, which are not really limited to these ones here. Speed to market, reduction of cost and waste, and this is all some of the things that we do. Next slide, please. And if you look at this, just some images here that talks about the soil, and that talks about the farmers that are in livestock and crop farming, and also some of the farmers that are in aquaculture. Next slide, please. And our business model is really combining the technologies, which is really the space-based technologies, satellites, and other AI technologies. Combine the technologies, combine the skills and resources, make it easy for the farmers to utilize these technologies and the resources at an affordable price on a subscription basis, making it affordable for them to be able to have access. And then we eliminate all these problems that I've highlighted in the previous slide completely using this engagement model. Next slide, please. And our vision, obviously, everything monitored centrally, where we can see every farmer, whether it's by province or by country or by municipality, from one dashboard, and be able to communicate with the farmers about their farm, where they are, where they want to be, and what is going on in the farm at any given point. Next slide, please. And we believe that we satisfy the requirements of Space-Tech, this competition. And as we satisfy, as you see the arrows over there, we satisfy because we completely address using space technologies to deal with the utilization of these technologies in the agricultural sector. Next slide, please. And our platform is centralized. It's not just an Earth observation technology only, but we bring in other technologies only, but we don't sell the technology. So we combine all this technology, offer it to the farmers as a service. Next slide, please. And our go-to-market, obviously, has been through the farmers associations, large corporates, large agro-processors who buy from these small holder farmers. And that has really been our, this is our strategy, and it's going to be our going forward strategy, also including talking to buyers, making sure the buyers, they come on board, the buyers who are keen to buy from these smallholder farmers. Next slide, please. And our competitive edge is really that we don't sell technology, we don't sell products, so farmers don't need to have these budgets, so they don't need to have money, and all they do, they just buy a service which they pay for on a month-to-month basis. And that is, and also a lot of the community out there or service providers, they will utilize drones, and we don't use drones, and we don't use at this stage IoT data or IoT gadgets and all of that stuff. So we make it easy, so farmers don't need to have broadband and all of that stuff, which is very complicated. Next slide, please. And our team is consisting of women, youth. It's a combination. And it's driven by mainly females. Next slide, please. And that would be, next slide, please. That would be from top to bottom of the organization. And our financial model is easy, subscription-based, and we've done the numbers in terms of how many subscriptions, how many, and we believe that I think the numbers are achievable. Next slide, please. And we're asking for the 250K, which is obviously is a scalable number that is based on the 500 in 2021. And we believe that we can do 20,000 in 3 years and 100,000 over 5 years. And we've done 9 farmers, based on 9 provinces in South Africa, and picking the different farmers. So we know that there's an interest. Next slide, please. And our status, as I said, we're ready to commercialize after integration. Obviously, we have all the agreements in place. We have secured the partners, including your cloud partners and infrastructure. We have some LOIs. Next slide, please. And next slide, please. Well, before that, please. Yeah, thank you. And I think the impact is very huge, most in the families, in the communities, especially when we're addressing the management of the farms, where we make sure there's more food, there's more yield. And next slide, please. And our model is simple. We know that this is viable and is feasible and is desirable in the communities. Next slide, please. And our vision, obviously, is to have this tower where we can manage farms in Africa from one tower, similar to an airport tower. And we can see what's going on in every farm, whether it's a livestock farmer, crop, or aquaculture. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. I think it's the last one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jabu, and well done. I would like to now call upon our judges to fire away any questions that they may have. Any first takers?
Morning, Jabu. If I can maybe jump in. First of all, congratulations. Good comeback after the first hiccup this morning.
Thank you very much to you.
Very impressive presentation. I think it's a huge vision that you guys have got. How much of really an impressive description of the architecture, etc., is in place already? How much is operational? I know you've got the 9 farms, but that can easily be done with this disconnected systems, etc. But a scale and to put everything in place in the cloud platform, etc. Where are you on that bar of
I think yes, we have the space, the Earth observation stuff. I think that is in place, so it's fine. We've signed and sealed everything we need to do there with the providers. And then we have the local technology infrastructure providers. And the whole idea is to make sure we store all the data of these farmers locally. We don't want to store in another cloud that we don't know. So we have reached an agreement with a large Microsoft affiliated technology provider, which has the necessary infrastructure and additional apps that we need, for example, in the future, like if you need to use mobile applications. What is needed really at this point, what we need to go is to use APIs, obviously, to integrate. So I would say the system integration is what we need to do, and to complete the cycle. Thank you.
And the cost element and time to actually include that. I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, we just need to call upon a bunch of APIs, but that's way easier said than done. You guys work out exactly the complexity of that, the cost of that, and then the timeframes.
Yes, we right now, if you ask me to show you a demo of any, we just give us the farm location or the coordinates. We can show you the using Earth observation, obviously, and go through the farm and also show what is going on in that farm in terms of soil, water, what's going on, whether there's what's going on in that farm. So we can do that today. So the question is, at this stage here, we're not storing it on our own platform or infrastructure. So, that's why I was saying that most of it, we are ready right now, today. Tomorrow, I can do a presentation to yourselves and show you the platform.
Okay, last question from our side before I unleash the rest of the team. You've got nine farms that you're doing pilots on at the moment. Have you got a specific ROI that you've achieved for those farmers for what they've invested versus what they get as a return from you on the value you're providing?
The 9 farms, we wanted to see the platform working from different provinces, and they all came from their crop, and so we didn't really set any we didn't set any targets or whatever that we needed to achieve, but we wanted it was showing them because they were part of farmers associations groups, and because we needed to get that buy-in from these association groups to engage with them. So we didn't set any benchmark, but we are able to go back. Next week we are doing other farmers in Northern Natal, for example, so we begin now to set our targets. This is what they wanted, this is what we achieved, this is what the platform can do. So, but we have established the KPIs that we're going to use for if they are satisfying the farmers' needs and requirements. I think we've used the top-down on purpose for that reason, that we got the buy-in from the chairpersons of these farmers' associations in understanding the needs of these farmers here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe a couple of questions from my side. The solution, I mean, firstly, absolutely great presentation and pitch. It addressed all the key points that we're looking for. Maybe just a couple of questions around it. The types of services you're providing are also being provided by a number of other companies within South Africa and globally as well. What is it that is that sort of unique, in your view, the unique sort of differentiator between what you're providing and others are? And the second question around that is, I saw in your presentations, somewhere that you signed a few letters of intent and you've had some letters of intent for taking up the service. How difficult has it been to convince small-scale farmers to use the service and eventually subscribe to the service? Has there been a skepticism around it, or has it, and what would you need to do to bridge that gap and to be able to get the broad uptake?
Yes. Thank you for that. A very interesting, very difficult process, I must say, for the farmers. You must remember you are dealing with smallholder farmers, and most of them are not educated, and so it's been an educational process to educate them without having to talk technical language to them. And but also to sell benefits more than anything. What where are they going to be? What are we trying to achieve with all of this, and what impact is it going to make in the communities? So it's been very difficult, especially when it comes to how much are you charging, and can they afford? Can they not afford? In terms of how will they pay for it if today they don't have money? I did mention it's a subscription-based service, but what is it? So we needed to go through all of that, and especially, if I may answer, especially around this money, which is the biggest thing.
Thank you so much, Jabu, and to the judges. With that said, you are the last person to pitch, and thank you so much. You did a good job, and thanks to our panel.
And thanks to you for the second chance. Thank you very much.
Well, you rose to the occasion. You definitely rose to the occasion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our partners who made this event possible. And I would like to thank our panel of judges. In addition to that, some of whom our partners sit on the panel. And I would like to first, the showstoppers of the day, the startups themselves. They did a phenomenal job of being able to articulate their innovative ideas. And it goes to show that Africa is full of thriving entrepreneurs who are able to come up with solutions that are tailored to the context that they're in. And furthermore, it's testament that we can build a growing space tech ecosystem within Africa. So once again, thank you very much. I would like to hand over to Imran to do the vote of thanks for us.
Okay, thank you, Tabo. I think that this has really been a fascinating pitching session. We've been, Sansa and some of the partners here have been involved in these space tech innovation challenges for the last 4 or 5 years. And every year, I think the quality of submissions and the quality of the proposals that we're getting are improving. I think and this bodes well for the challenge itself. But I think the ultimate aim, as you indicated, Tabo, of building and seeding an ecosystem of SMMEs, not only in South Africa but across the continent, to be able to utilize the enormous potential that space technology has for realizing many of the challenges that we have, and also addressing both the issues around quality of life as well as wealth creation for us as a continent. I think that it's certainly something that is close to the heart of SANSA, the development and of the space sector as a whole, and the entire value chain development, and through the Space Infrastructure Hub program that we're looking at. We're looking at using the investment that Kamal had talked about in his introduction to ensure that this value chain is developed and serves the purposes that we want it to serve. So very big thanks firstly to all the participants in this for taking the time, putting together the high quality proposals, going through the process itself, availing yourself for this pitching session. I trust that you found value in participating in this as well, and that the connections that comes out of the networking and the connections that come out of this process are valuable to you as well. Thank you also to all the partners in the Space-Tech Challenge, FNB, REES, MAXA, Innovation Connect, ANZA, for participating or for partnering in this. I think that it's something that we've initiated over a few years, and as I said, it's developing and becoming stronger and stronger. Despite the COVID pandemic and the challenges that it brought, we've managed for the first time to pull off a challenge that is continent-wide type of challenge, and I think that having the showcase at the Geo plenary last year and this and this pitching session, I think, has been an enormous feat, and a lot of the credit and all the credit goes to Reese Davis Cook and his team for organizing this for the summit. ZA Space as well, a somewhat new kid on the block, but making enormous strides and inroads into galvanizing this industry to begin to talk with one voice and to be able to put their needs forward as an industry to organizations like SANSA and others. And I think that their contributions to making this Space-Tech Challenge are enormous and hugely appreciated. Thank you very much also to this team of judges that we've been through, and like to say, maybe go from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, the session draws to a close. Thank you very much to our audience. And I'll just also like to highlight that the recording of this will be on YouTube, so everyone is more than welcome to rewatch as many times as they would like, and all the best going forward. The judges have deliberated and the results are out. The winners are as follows. In first place, we have Hydro Blue from South Africa, and in second place, we have Smart Agriot from South Africa, and in tie third, we have Hehe from Rwanda, and Field Dev Group Nigeria from Nigeria. Congratulations to our winners. I would like to thank all our startups for participating, and our judges, our partners, and our great audience members. Thank you all for making this year's challenge such a great success. We look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thanks, and cheers for now.